Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Ramblings SBG Battle Report. Today pitches two unparalleled titans of combat against each other. It's Sauron versus the Balrog. Personally leading the forces of Barad-dûr today is none other than Sauron. And he has with him 7 orcs with shield, 6 with spear and shield, 1 with a banner, spear and shield, and 2 warg riders with shield. And he is accompanied by 2 captains, Scully and Pointy, and they have identical warbands of 4 orcs with shield, 4 with spear and shield, and a warg rider with shield. And that is 750 points of Barad-dûr. The Goblin Horde is led by the Balrog of Morgoth. He is leading the Depths of Moria Legendary Legion, which makes the Balrog even better and allows the drum that he's bringing along in his warband to be battlefield wide. He has with him the drum. He's got 4 goblins with bow, 4 with spear and 4 with shield. And his 3 captains have identical warbands, and they have 9 goblins, 3 with bow, 3 with shield, and 3 with spear. And the captains are this banner captain, the king captain, and the captain on rock. And that is 750 points of the Depths of Moria Legendary Legion. The field of battle today is an abandoned orcish camp. Both the forces of Barad-dûr and the Depths of Moria are seeking to claim this territory to expand their influence. Both forces know that the best way to secure this land is with weight of numbers and with the corpses of their enemies strewn about them. To that end, both of the forces are seeking to capture this territory by claiming the centre and withstanding the enemy assault. The scenario that we'll be playing is hold ground. So that central statue will be the objective. The victory points are heavily weighted towards taking the centre, with 3 victory points for having more models than the enemy within 6 inches of the central objective at the end of the game. 5 if you have double the number of models, and 7 if you have triple. There are also victory points available for wounding the enemy leader. You get 1 and 2 for killing them. And you also get 1 for breaking the enemy and 3 for breaking them while being unbroken. As always, the victory points are only calculated at the end of the game. And this game ends once one force has reached 50%, at which time, at the end of each subsequent turn, we'll roll a dice, and on a 1 or a 2, the game ends. But on a 3+, the game continues. Deployment for this battle is Maelstrom of Battle, so we can get straight on with rolling for first turn priority. But before we do, we're going to assign the role of good to the Balrog, which doesn't often happen, but as he is facing the ultimate Dark Lord, it makes sense for Sauron to be evil. So the Balrog and the goblins will be using green dice, and Sauron and the orcs will be using the red dice. Let's roll for first turn priority. And priority for turn 1 goes to the goblins. This is the battlefield after deployment. The Balrog went first and rolled a 5, choosing anywhere on the east or west board edges, and he went on the right hand side so that he was close to the objective and able to get some archers up onto the rocks. Then one of his captains got a 2 and decided not to waste any might and to just go down in the corner at Sauron's request. Then another captain went up there and another got a 2 and was put down with the rest. Sauron then deployed his force. He rolled a 6, allowing him to come in wherever he wanted, and he pounced on the goblins down below. The 2 captains both spent a point of might, One, to get him a 4 so that he was able to come in with Sauron rather than at the mercy of wherever the Balrog wanted them to go. And the other captain used a point of might to get a 5 so that they could pincer the goblins. Normally this would be a bad plan for this scenario, as it would get the goblins very close to breaking, and then the game would end and they would have the centre. However, the goblins will never break in this scenario until the Balrog has taken at least 5 wounds. Equally, Barad-dûr will never break while Sauron has at least 3 wounds remaining. This means that Sauron can abuse half of the goblin force and then turn his attention to the centre. So the pressure is going to be on the Balrog to charge past the centre and join the fight against Sauron and try and end the game with the centre in his control. Certainly anyone's game at this point, but an early advantage to Barad-dûr. There is a little bit of shooting. These goblins here moved half, so they're still able to shoot at the orcs at point blank range. Despite that though, they are still hitting on 6s. And that is no hits. Finally, we have these 2 archers, again, going to shoot at point blank range. They do get a hit with a 6, and then it's another 6 to wound, as they are only strength 2 bows. That 3, not enough. We'll point out that the orcs are not Moran orcs, they're just normal orcs. It's just that they are the models that we have available. But regardless, that 3 does no wounds. With that, we go into turn 2 priority. Priority on a draw, this time goes to Sauron. Start the move phase, and the Goblin Captains have decided not to call heroic moves. They're happy for Sauron and his force to engage with them further away from the objective, and also the odds of them being able to charge Sauron are quite slim. The Ancient Evil special rule is like Harbinger of Evil, but with an 18-inch range. So anyone within 18-inch range, any enemy, will have -1 courage. The drum in the Balrog's warband does give battlefield-wide +1 courage, but with +1, -1, they remain at courage 2. So they are just going to sit and wait for Sauron to attack them. Sauron at the start of his move is going to use his 1 free will per turn to compel on a 3+ that Goblin Captain. Oh, it doesn't go off, and he's not going to bother with any might. He's just going to plough into the goblins. End of the movement phase, and Sauron and his force have fully enveloped the speed bump goblins. They are getting ready to slaughter them in short order. Up on the right-hand side, the Balrog is charging forward. The captain didn't waste his might on a march. Instead, he's going to keep that for heroic moves, as realistically the 2 captains facing Sauron are probably not going to survive to see the Balrog's triumphal entry into combat. That's the end of the move. There's no shooting, so we'll go straight into combats. We'll start the combats this side and just work round. So we're going to do this 2-on-1. He's going to fight normally because he's an orc and he's brave, but he has lost. So the goblins needing 5s to kill get nothing, and he backs away. We'll then just do this one here, which is a 1-on-1. And again, the goblin wins. Needing a 5, and he kills him. And that orc spearman is down. This is a bad start there for the forces of Barad-dûr, who are hoping to just annihilate these goblins, but that is how battles go. The next fight then is 2 on the captain and 2. So the captain will be the bigger dice, and then he's got 2 friends against the goblins. And the goblins lose, however they do have the battlefield-wide banner. Ooh, which gets into a 5. So it's a draw, but the captain has a higher fight value there, that orc captain. So rolling to wound, needing 5s. And that 6 does the work and kills a goblin. That Goblin Archer there is dead. The next fight is this charging Warg Rider on 1. The goblin's not going to bother shielding. He's just going to fight him and hope he gets lucky. Does have the banner, which he's definitely going to need. He needs a 6 here. Ooh, which he does not get. So these are double strikes, needing that 5 there to get the kill. That is a dead goblin. Next we have the captain on 2. That's the Goblin Captain, who has a spearman actually, against 2 orcs. So the Goblin Captain and his spearman against the 2 orcs. Oh, it's a 6 either side, and it is a draw because the goblin there is only fight 3. So we'll roll off 1, 2, or 3. It's the forces of Barad-dûr. 4+, it goes to the Goblin Captain, but on a 3, it is the orcs who win. So the orcs then making strikes, needing 5s to wound that goblin. 6s in fact to wound the goblin. He is defense 6, but no. No wounds there. He backs away. And then next we have another Goblin Captain and 1 against 2 more of the orc force there. And the Goblin Captain wins. The Goblin Captain doing some good fighting there. Can he win? Can he get a kill? Oh, no, but his friend does. And another orc goes down. The fighting very even here, although now we come to the Dark Lord Sauron. Sauron has a mighty 4 attacks. That is 4 goblins against 4 from Sauron. Oh, and Sauron loses the fight. He has a banner nearby. Quite where the banner is. There he is. So needs a 6 here. He doesn't get it. So Sauron backs away. He's not going to bother wasting any might there. He's just going to let the goblins strike him. And the goblins at strength 2 will need 6s by 6. Let's just double check. So the goblins are not strength 2. That was a momentary lapse of into madness. They are strength 3, which is 6s by 6s. Strength 2 would not even be able to scratch his defense 10. So wounding Sauron on 6s by 6s. There is a 6. Can the goblins get a wound? No. A 6 by 4, not enough. They'd have been able to wound a troll or a ring wraith or anything, but not Sauron's incredible tough armour. So he just backs away and is fine. Then we'll do the next fight. We'll do the captain and 3 against a poor little goblin. So the captain will be the big dice, the 3 orcs in the smaller red, and then the goblin is going to have to shield there. However ungoblin like it is, there's no way he would ever risk that. He does manage to get the 6, but he is outfought by the captain and loses the fight. He is able to back away, but let's just see if these strikes can kill him. Needing 5s. Oh, he's super dead. That is a very, very dead goblin. He backs away, but then dies just to displace the goblins that would be displaced. The next fight then is a 3-on-1. That's a Goblin Archer, so there's no shielding. Even if he wanted to, he loses. He's unable to banner it because he can't beat the 6. So then needing 5s. No. The Goblin Archer backs away. We then have a 2-on-1. And the Goblin wins. The Orcs are well out of banner range, so can that Goblin Archer get another 5+? He does! He kills the Orc. That has definitely not gone the way the Orcs were expecting. Very few Goblins down, and just as many Orcs have fallen. So this is the battlefield at the end of turn 2. The Goblins on the left fully surrounded, but holding firm against the Orcs, and the Balrog coming up on the right. Let's go into turn 3 priority. And it goes to Sauron again. With Barad-dûr priority, this Banner Captain is going to use a point of might to call a heroic move. Unwilling for the Goblins to be able to get any form of advantage here, Scully uses his last point of might to call a heroic move himself. So we have a roll-off. On a 1, 2 or 3, it goes to Sauron, and on a 4+, it goes to the Goblins. And it goes to the Goblins. They will move first. This is the battlefield at the end of turn 3. Winning the heroic move off, the Goblins have engaged to form a bit of a bubble to keep themselves from being trapped wherever possible, and have managed to get the jump on one of the Warg Riders with a captain. They also managed to charge Sauron. There was an archer that didn't really have anywhere to go, so he chanced his hand and managed to pass his courage test on a 9 and charged Sauron. The rest of the move then was Sauron's priority, and the Orcs just piled in where they could, although a lot of their movement had been mitigated by losing the heroic move roll-off. Then up on the right, the Balrog and his band are slowly moving across the board. The Balrog already at the centre, as he's faster than the Goblins, and was tall enough to just move straight over the rocks. But he is just looking to get into combat. He knows that his force is going to be greatly reduced, but he's still confident that he can cut through enough Orcs to take the day. With that, seeing as there's no shooting this turn, we'll go straight into the combat phase. We'll start off on the left again with this chap against 2. He's going to fight normally and lose, unfortunately for him. 5s to wound, and he goes down. Orcs. They might have to start shielding, although that really goes against their plan of flash killing this flank. We then have a 2 on 1, but the tables are turned this time in favour of the Orcs, and they win it. Even with the battlefield wide banner reroll, the Goblin cannot win. So then 5s to wounds, no wound, and the Goblin backs away. This is not going well for Barad-dûr. This fight, however, is a captain and a Warg Rider. The Warg Rider didn't charge. And we'll just find some dice for the captain. So the captain is the big dice, Warg Rider is the small one, and then the Goblin, who is a spearman, so he has no shield, is just going to fight normally. And he loses unless he can get a 6 with the drum reroll. If we could get it on the table. It is a 6! He has won the fight. And the best bit being the Orc Captain is out of might. So he is going to make strikes. He's going to go after the Warg. He needs 5s. In fact, he's going to go for the Warg Rider because it's 5s either way. And he kills him! He's killed the Warg Rider. We'll do the Warg's courage test. And it flees. So that is the little Goblin that could, pushes the captain back, wins the fight, kills a Warg Rider. That is a very, very valiant little Goblin spearman. That is impressive work. The next fight, we'll do the banner wielding captain. Obviously the banner is just ornamental. The banner captain and 1 against an orc. And that orc is going to shield. It's not an unorcish thing to do when you are that outmatched. So captain is the big ones. Ooh, and it's a full-blown draw, as the captain there is just fight value 3. At least I'm 99% sure. Let's just double check. So the Goblin Captain is fight value 3. He would be 4 with the fight value buff from the Balrog, except the Balrog is miles away, so he's well out of range. It is a roll-off. 1, 2, or 3, it goes to the Orc. But on a 4, 5, 6, it is the Captain. So the Captain has won, and he's going to be making strikes on that Orc. Needing 5s. No, the Orc survives, although I think he is probably... No, actually, I think he can get through, despite the fact that we've moved the spearman a bit when we knocked him. I think he would have been able to get through that gap. The next fight, then, is this one here. That Warg Rider did charge. That's why we've got the markers on there, but he is against a Captain. So it's charging Warg Rider against... and 1 against the Captain. We'll differentiate them because the Warg Rider does have different strength if it comes down to winning the fight. So the Captain is the big one, Warg Rider is the big red ones, and then a little one for the Spearman. Ooh, and it's another draw. There is the battlefield-wide banner, which will roll into a 6. Unbelievable, especially as off the table it was a 1. This one is cocked. We'll roll that because you never know. It's just the trouble with playing at the edge of the board. Everything rolls off. Another cocked one. 3rd time lucky. It is a 6. It really is 3rd time lucky. So it's a draw. Unbelievable. So both re-rolls, taking them up to 6s. Re-roll for the banner and a re-roll for having a cocked dice. And the roll-off goes to the Goblin Captain. These Goblin Captains winning a lot of fights here. So... he is going to make strikes. He's going to make his first strike against the Warg Rider. He will need 5s. Not quite. He's going to do the same again. And it's a 4 again. He is on full might. So he's just going to go nuts. He's going to spend that point of might to kill the Warg Rider. And we'll do the Mount's Courage test. Oh, and the Mount stays. So the Warg backs away. We'll whip the rider off. We'll do that in a moment. He backs away as well. And that Orc Captain, the Goblin Captain rather, down a mite, has killed the Warg Rider. The next fight is the Spearman and 2 Warg Riders against a definitely shielding Goblin. The Goblin is trapped. So we will have 5 dice for the attackers. That will be the Warg Riders in the smaller dice, the Spearman in the big one, and then the green, obviously, for the Goblin. The Goblin doesn't stand a chance. He is surrounded and overwhelmed. And then these are not going to need a lot to get kills. These are all 5s, but they're all re-rollable. And they absolutely slaughter him. And he goes down, thrown to the ground and slaughtered. He was trapped, so they will back away. The next fight is here. It's 1 very trapped Goblin against 6 Orcs. We'll just grab the dice for that fight. 6 on 1. He's going to shield, so he gets an extra attack. Can the Goblin do it? Oh, no. He loses on fight. However, if he can re-roll this to a 6, it's happened a lot this game. No, he doesn't do it. He loses on fight. So now these are a lot of strikes. These are all doubled, so there'll be 12 in total, needing 5s. He goes down on the first set. He is dead. These Orcs back away, and the Goblin goes down. We will then come to Sauron. Do him next. He has 4 attacks against an Archer. And the Archer is going to stab. He loses, however, banner, if he can get the magic 6. Ooh, so close. Sadly, he just can't quite beat the fight value of Sauron there. 5 to 5. Sauron beats him, and he's going to rend him, needing something ridiculous. And that 6 is most definitely a dead Goblin. The next fight along, after Sauron has got his first kill, he's managed to kill 5 points now, and for his total of 400. So he's doing well. He is... We're then going to go to this fight here. The shielding goblin against 2 orcs. The goblins just trying to buy some time for their big beastie Balrog to come in and save them. The goblin wins. There is an orc banner. Needing a 6. No, too high. The shielding has worked there. These orcs are starting to get a bit frantic now as they just bounce their blades off the... In fact, he is a spear support. So those 2 dice are not shielding. They are winning the fight. So the orcs back away. It's difficult to see sometimes through the camera. Oh, in fact, this entire fight is wrong. We're just going to redo that fight as the captain and co are engaged. My mistake. I thought those 2 were engaged. We'll just redo this full fight. Right then, so redoing this fight, we actually have the captain and 3 against 2. So hopefully the orcs can do some damage before the Balrog catches up and kills them all. And this time, with the captain in the fight, they have won it nice and easily, needing 5s to wound. Apologies for that. There we go. So that goblin is down. He'd have been able to back away without the spearman needing to move. Then we have a 4-on-2. So that's 4-on-2. And the orcs win that very easily. They're getting a 6. The goblins don't have the fight value to be able to banner it. Oh, and on a 6 and a 5, that archer has died. It is to be expected, but they've done so well that it's almost a surprise when a goblin dies at this stage. We then have 2-on-1. Clear some of these dice. So the goblin unable to shield, but he wins. He wins there, and he's, as we've just said, unable to shield because he's a bowman. So he's going to make strikes, needing a 5. Stuck on the grass tuft. It's a 6. The goblin has killed an orc. Oh wow! And that is still incredibly even down here. Not remotely what Sauron wanted there. Sauron has just not been able to munch through these troops. And that is the end of the combat phase. This is the board at the end of turn 3. The goblins really putting up an impressive fight down in the bottom left, keeping Sauron and his force away from that objective. They're committed to their plan of trying to overwhelm them before turning to the centre, where the Balrog is in command. The Balrog and his half of the force are now rapidly approaching Sauron and co. The Balrog, a little bit exposed, advancing faster than the goblins. So we'll see how that plays out. Let's go into probably quite a crucial turn 4 priority. And it goes to Sauron once again. So again, it's Barad-dûr priority. And the goblins are very close now to just being overwhelmed. So there's no reason not to waste their might. And that banner captain is going to spend his last point on a heroic move. Pointy captain here does have might. So obviously does Sauron. But they're going to save that for the main event when the Balrog joins the fray. So they are going to allow the goblins to move. This is how we're looking at the end of turn 4 movement. Sauron had priority, but the goblins had a heroic move and managed to tag what they were able to get into the best possible positions, but they didn't have the numbers to form any form of wall and have been surrounded. The only wall they were able to make was this hurl line. They took the logic that it would be alright as the orcs would charge and they wouldn't get hurled, but the orcs have moved off instead to try and stem the goblins coming with the Balrog, which the hurl line aren't really that concerned about, as not having all those goblins, all those orcs rather, in the fight is probably worth their deaths. Balrog and co are coming. The Balrog is just out of whip range. The orcs made sure that they wouldn't be able to get whipped and give the free heroic combat to the Balrog. And he is about 9 inches away. The goblins are all coming up. They're slower than him, and they've also had to go a slightly longer way round, but they are getting close now. They're going to definitely have the centre, and it will be an uphill battle for Sauron, although he may start to claw a numbers advantage now as well. It's been fairly even up till now. The sheer number of traps is going to start hurting the goblins. Again, no shooting, so we'll go straight into the combat phase. All the combats are down here, and we're going to start this time with Sauron. He is going his 4 attacks against the spearman who will stab. Oh, there is 1 off the table, but we'll just do the banner reroll. No, it's a 3, so Sauron has won that fight. He's going to hurl him. How far does he hurl him? He gets him a long way. That will easily go off the table with that 3 plus the strength difference. So he is going to hurl him through 2, and he takes the high strength hit. He is dead. And then a strength 3 on the other 2. 5 plus to wound them. And both of those are alive, but knocked prone. So we put prone markers onto those 2, and he is dead. That's more impressive than destructive from Sauron, knocking over 2 and getting only his 2nd kill of the game. The next combat we'll do will be this 3-on-1. He is going to shield, and he loses there on the draw. Balrog still too far away. He's got his banner reroll, but it's not enough. He's going down on 5s, and he's trapped, so these are rerollable. It's a good job they're rerollable, as his armour and shield see him through the first lots. But he goes down to a 6 and a 5. He is dead. The curse of the unpainted miniature. Maybe he'd have survived there if he wasn't just undercoated and armoured up. So then we have another 3-on-1. Same dice again. He's going to shield, but he loses there to the 6. The orcs now starting to cut goblins down, although they have taken a very long time to die and have quite possibly bought enough time for the Balrog to claw things back. We'll do the captain and 1 against 2 spearmen. The captain will be the bigger dice. That's a Goblin Captain, that banner goblin. And the banner goblin wins. He beats the 1 and the 4 with his 6. Can he wound? He needs 5s. No. Although he... Oh, in fact, he doesn't have might. It's the other captain that has might. He has called 2 heroic moves. So, speaking of the other captain there, he does have a shield. And he's going to use it, I think. I think he is going to play safe. So we'll give him 4 dice, as he is against a charging warg, a standard warg rider, a warg, and a spearman. So that is a total of 5 dice being rolled against him. But he does have 4, and he does have even fight value. So he's got a chance. You never know. The goblin might still come out of this alive. He's got a 5. Oh, he's got a 5 high, but he loses to the 6. He's got the banner, and he does actually have might as well. So he's going to spend that might to draw the fight. To roll off, he needs a 4+ to survive. Oh, but he gets a 3. Or at least the roll off is a 3, and he loses that fight. So he is going to be taking double strikes now. He's prone, so that is a lot of dice coming his way. He is defense 6. However, there's a lot of strength 4 in that fight from the warg riders. So there's going to be a massive 8 dice at strength 4 and then 2 at strength 3. So we'll do The strength 4s first. These are re-rollable. Nothing from the first lot. Needing 5s. Oh, there's 2. Oh, this could be nasty. He does have fate, but we'll roll the spearman as well. He needs 6s. And he gets it. That's 3 wounds. He's prone, kicked into the ground, and eaten by wolves. That captain goes down, but he has caused a massive headache to Barad-dûr and has not sold his life cheaply there. We've then got a 1-on-1. Both fighting normally. It goes to evil, but can the goblin do it with his reroll? No. No, he can't. Not with a 2. And he pays for that failure with his life. Another goblin down. Then got a 1-on-1 again. So that's this 1-on-1. It's a 5 high for the orc. It is doable with a banner, but no. The drum banner not doing the work there, and then he backs away, takes a hit, but he doesn't die, which is crucial now for the goblins. Just as many as they can behind enemy lines to hold them in place for the Balrog to do some killing. We then have a 1-on-1 there. Again, another 1-on-1. This time it's a draw. It will go to the orc, but not with the drum banner. The drum banner of a 4 wins the fight. He's rolling to kill. Just a 3. Then the final fight is 2 spearmen and a captain, an orc captain there, against the bowman. The bowman is going to stab because why not? But he loses the fight. Is he going to die? On 5s, yes, he is slaughtered. So he doesn't need to take stabbing damage because he's already dead. End of turn 4, and Sauron's force now has begun to tighten their vice grip on the bottom left force of goblins. There's very few of them left now. There is still a captain, but he's now out of might, and he is struggling now to hold back the orc tide. However, the Balrog and the rest of the goblins are rushing forward to secure the centre and bring some pain to the orcs. It's going to be an interesting turn 5. Let's go into priority. And it goes again to Barad-dûr. Towards the beginning of Barad-dûr's movement phase, and Sauron is going to cast Chill Soul on the Balrog. He's going to use 2 will and his free one. It goes off on a 4+, and it has gone off there on a 5. So that is an instant wound on the Balrog. So the Balrog is going to want to resist that. He has 10 will and resistant to magic. So having no might, he is going to chuck 3 will and the free one to resist, needing a 5 or he suffers a wound. We've differentiated the free one in case that's a 6 because he won't get that back. And it is a 6 there. So he doesn't get the will back. He has spent 3 will of his 10. But that 6 is enough to resist. So Sauron has not managed to deal a wound to the Balrog. We'll come back after the rest of the movement. End of turn 5 movement. And the few surviving goblins down at the bottom left have all been engaged. The captain has been surrounded, and the ones that are prone have been attacked by 2. Then in the centre, the orcs and Sauron have advanced. They are in charge range of the Balrog, but the Balrog has decided that he would rather stand and whip. He is unwilling to recklessly charge forward and has decided to stand and whip while his goblins catch up with him. There will be a little bit of shooting, so we'll jump into the shoot phase. First up, we have these 2 Goblin Archers are going to shoot at this orc here. They haven't moved, so they're hitting on 5s. There's 1 hit there, the 6. Needing another 6, it's just a 1. These 2, they have moved, so they're hitting on 6s. And they are just going to go for those chaps. Preferably a spearman, but they both miss. And then the main event is the Balrog. He is going to whip the Captain to try and take out some of Barad-dûr's might. The Balrog shoot value is 3, so he's going to need just a 3+ on this dice. Oh, and he gets a 2, and he doesn't have any might. So that is a miss from the Balrog. That's all of the shooting. So we'll come back after the combat phase. With the combat phase, rather. We'll start off with this prone spearman against 2. The spearman's going to stab. Oh dear, he has lost. In fact, there's no way that he would stab because he's prone, isn't he? So he wouldn't be able to make strikes, but he's dead regardless. That is a very dead goblin. Let's take away the prone marker. Then the next fight is another prone goblin, an archer, against 2. He has lost. Can he win with the banner? No, he can't. That is another potentially dead goblin here. Wounded on 5s. Yes, he goes down there to a 6. Another dead goblin. We'll do a 1-on-1. The only fair fight this time round. Oh, and it goes to the orc there. The Balrog's still a long way off for his buff. But the goblin does survive. That 2, not enough. The next fight will be 2-on-1. And this goblin is going to stab. He's going to do it. He's going to win. He's going to kill an orc. Or not. Put that other one right off the table. So he does only need a 5 to win with a banner. He doesn't get it, unfortunately. Let's see if he goes down. He doesn't to the first set. He is trapped. He's not going to be able to back away a full inch. He doesn't die. He survives against all of those attacks. So those orcs back away. Then the next fight is this one here. It's 2-on-1. It's the spearman, so he's unable to shield. Roll that because the other one went off the table. So again, no 6 with the drum banner. No, doesn't win. So these are double strikes. The warg, we'll do both of the wargs first because he is strength 4 on defense 4. Double 6s. He only needed a 4, but he absolutely tears him apart. That warg is now going to be very sleepy after that big lunch. Munching there on goblin bones. We then have 2 charging wargs and the captain against the Goblin Captain. The Goblin Captain is definitely going to shield. He gets a 5 high. We'll do his banner reroll. So he is 5 high against 6 dice from the orcs. Just gather those up. 6 dice. There's no might left on Scully, but he gets the 6. Or at least someone in that fight gets the 6. So now, rolling to wound. They're all strength 4 in that fight. The Warg Riders and the Captain. So they are going to need 5s to wound. And these are all re-rollable. Because, well, they are... We'll re-roll them all because they are double strikes. So that is 1 wound. 2 wounds. So he needs to pass this fate 4+ to stay alive. He is alive. That captain is unkillable. He's prone. He's out of fate. He's down to 1 wound, but he is still alive. Although, with just 2 goblins surviving with him, he is going to struggle to be much more than a very small thorn in the side. But he has kept a lot of the orcs back from the centre, so he's done his job. End of turn 5, and it's about to get very messy as the Balrog and Sauron are very close to throwing their weight against each other. The goblins down on the left have given their lives, but the rest of the goblin horde have the objective. This is anyone's game, and it is going to be a big clash as we go into turn 6 priority. And this time it goes to the goblins. Very near the end of the movement phase, there's just Sauron left to move. And he's going to use 2 will and 1 free to transfix the Balrog. It goes off on a 6. Ooh, the Balrog really does not want to be transfixed with Sauron on him. There's a lot of orcs. He charged into a captain of 1 and then 2 rather, and their spear supports have gone in. That one is not in contact, he's just trapping. So he is going to resist that with 3 dice. It's going to be 3 from his store and 1 free. Needs a 6 on these dice. Oh, and he's not got it. He's burnt 3 will. 3 will. And he has not resisted the spell. That is unfortunate for the Balrog. He's down to 4 will now. And he is transfixed this turn. We'll do Sauron's courage test, which was not done, to charge. And he gets a 10 and his courage 7. So he is in. He's in on the transfixed Balrog. This could be messy now for the Balrog. The Balrog transfixed is unable to use his Shadow and Flame special rule. The Shadow stopping arch attacks on a 5+, which is not coming to affect this game as there's no archery against him. But the and Flame means on a 2+ in the shoot phase, he would have been able to set Sauron ablaze when he came in 3 inches. But being transfixed, it's an active ability, so he's unable to do that. This could be an interesting fight phase now. End of turn 6 movement. This is the board. We've already seen the Balrog, who has been surrounded, and then the rest of the goblins have just moved up, and the orcs have fully surrounded and trapped all of these goblins down here. The goblins did have priority, so none of the Warg Riders got the charge off. There's no shooting, so we're going to dive straight into this very big combat phase. We'll start off with the 3-on-1. Oh, it goes to the orcs, but there is the possibility of a banner. And it goes off! The banner! That drum there, hiding right off in the corner, has just been pounding away all game. And there it has won the fight. He's going to go after the war because it's the highest strength. But he doesn't get in. He's also, though, not dead, which is massive for these goblins at the back of the fighting here. We'll then do this 3-on-1. Oh, again, it's just a 5 high for the orcs. Can the drum banner do it? 6. It is a 6. Oh, 2 drum banner 6s in a row. That is absolutely amazing there for that drum. He's going after the Warg Rider. He needs a 5+. A 6 again. He has killed the Warg Rider. So we'll back him off. We'll just do the courage test for the Warg. The Warg stays. So we'll whip him off his Warg. And that is 1 less orc to worry about. The Warg does stay, but it has no charge bonus now because it counts as infantry. That is massive there. 2 big fights. The goblins doing some serious fighting there. The drum inspiring them to great feats. We then have here the captain and a Warg Rider. The Warg Rider didn't charge, and there's no might on the captain, so we'll just do the dice all together. It's 2-on-3. Ooh, the captain, is he going to shield? Is he not? He's going to go brave. He's going to go brave. He's got the drum banner pounding in the distance. And he's going to need it. He's going to need it. Can we get 3 in a row? Drum banners to 6s. No, just a 2. His luck does not last. And in fact, he is only 1 wound, no fate. That was a big mistake, not shielding. Oh, and that 5, he goes down. Oh, out of interest. What would have happened if he'd shielded? Was it a huge mistake? No, he would have died anyway. At least we don't need to feel too bad for that poor banner bearing captain there. he has fallen. He, of course, was not the banner effect, as he's just modelled with a banner. He doesn't actually have a banner. It is the drum off in the distance that's giving them the reroll. And then it is the big fight here. It is the Balrog fully surrounded. This is going to be the best chance, realistically, for Sauron to bring it down before the goblins come to his rescue. The Balrog possibly overreaching here, transfixed and surrounded. We didn't mention, but it's obvious that Sauron was striking. We've marked off the might. He's definitely striking. It's just we've not mentioned it on camera. He is already fight 9, so he's automatically fight 10, even if he rolled a 1. So they are both fight 10, because the Balrog doesn't need to strike. He is fight 10 naturally. He is an absolute beast. He's going to set the bar. He's got 4 attacks. He needs a 6 here. Oh, and it's just a 5 high. Oh, that is not good for the Balrog. 5 high. Let's roll. We'll roll the orcs first. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll do the captain separately. So 7 orc dice. If they get a 6, then they've won. Oh, that's 3 6s there. The Balrog beaten in combat by orcs. That is embarrassing for the Balrog. That's not good. He is trapped and in some serious danger. We'll just double check. He is defense 9, but it's unusual to have such high defense creatures. So I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what strength 3 against defense 9 is. We'll double check that. The orcs with their strength 3 are 6s by 5s. We'll roll them first. He's trapped. So these will all be double strikes, but there's 2 6s there. These need to be 5s to do wounds. No wounds. He dodged a bullet there. So these are double strikes. We get to roll them all again. There's at least 1. Yep, 1 6. And another 6 by 4. Not enough to wound the Balrog. Can he get away with his poor placement there? We then have the captain. He again has double strikes, but he is strength 4. So he is going to be wounding on 6s by 4s. Can he do it? No. There is a 5 there, so he is going to spend a point of might to get that up to a 6, which means it's now 6s by 3s because the might goes across to both. And there we have a 4, which is a wound on the Balrog. That's the first wound on the Balrog. And then we have Sauron. He is going to roll his 4 attacks. There are double strikes, so he's going to have 8, and he is a massive strength 8 against the Balrog. So he is wounding on 5s. So the first set of dice, 2 wounds. That is nasty against the Balrog there. 2 wounds. And then his second set of strikes. Oh, and another 2. That is 5 wounds off the Balrog, which means that he is past the point at which he stops his force being broken. So that is massive for Barad-dûr, although they really don't want the game to end as they have not got the centre. So their job now is to make sure that they don't break the goblins before they take the centre. They could actually now have done too much work too fast against the Balrog. This is the board at the end of turn 6. The goblins not yet broken, although the Balrog, having lost 5 of his 10 wounds, has now lost his ability to keep the goblins from breaking. They will, however, not run, because he does have a 12-inch buff bubble around him, which gives goblins auto-passing courage. He's like a ginormous, fiery shaman. So all is definitely not lost for the goblins as we go into turn 7 priority. And it goes to Barad-dûr. Start of the move And this captain and his goblins are about half a centimetre away from Sauron. They're just not quite able to get the charge on him, so they can't stop the next round of brutality on the Balrog. So there's going to be no heroic moves. It's Barad-dûr priority. And Sauron is going to move first. He's going to use 1 and he's free, leaving him with just 1 will in his store. And he is going to cast Transfix again on the Balrog. And it goes off on another 6. Oh, that is nasty. Nasty magic there from Sauron. The Balrog has 4 will remaining. So he is just going to use 2. But he is going to use his resistance to magic, giving him 3 to resist. Oh, and he doesn't resist it. Not having might is nasty. 10 wills, all well and good. But you can fluff 10 rolls any day of the week, as the Balrog is proving. So he is transfixed again. He's down to 2 will. He is at the mercy of Sauron. That is nasty. He goes in there, or at least he does once he's passed his courage test. But he is courage 7. Yeah, he smashes that. This is proving nasty for the Balrog, which is a massive surprise, because I must say my money was on the Balrog. I thought the Balrog would annihilate Sauron. But that just goes to show that you don't mess about with a Dark Lord. Let's come back after the rest of the movement. End of turn 7 movement. And as we've seen, the Balrog again is engaged by Sauron. He is transfixed, although this time a lot less is in combat with him. This chap is not engaged. He's just moved to trap. But then this spearman did manage to pass his courage test, as bizarrely did the banner. But as the Balrog's trapped, he decided he's chanced his hand and he's charged in as well. That might be a mistake in future turns, but he's with the Dark Lord Sauron and he's going to give the Balrog a go. The orcs have just charged here to try and hold back the goblins and formed a bit of a wall here that has then been charged by some goblins that could get in on them. The archers have stood still. They're going to take some shots. They're going to try and defend the central objective. Then down here, the last 2 goblins have been surrounded. But most of the orcs from the bottom are pushing up to try and get onto the centre. It's all going to come down to the big scrap to kill the Balrog and to take the centre. If the goblins go down too quickly, but still have enough on the centre, they could still win this. Sauron has played it well in taking on half the goblins at a time, but he might have killed too efficiently after a slow start. He has come into his own fighting the Balrog and now might end the game too soon. Let's come back with the shooting phase, as there's going to be these 5 goblins firing into those spearmen. These 5 goblins, they've got clear shot down there, and then they are at a nice height and able to easily hit those 2 there. So 5 shots, none of them have moved. That's some good hits there. They need 6s to wound. Oh, and they get him! That spearman goes down. Archery there, doing something for the goblins. And that is all of the shooting. Very short and swift. Now we go on to the combat phase. Combat phase. Sauron is obviously going to call a heroic strike, leaving him with just 1 might. But we'll come down here for these fights. These 2 amazing goblins, they did a lot of hard fighting last turn. Can they do it again? 3 on 1. Start off with this archer. Oh no, he can't beat that 6. This could be the end now of that Goblin Archer. We will do the 2 attacks because the Goblin is trapped. They're double strike, so 2 from the Warg, needing 4s because he's strength 4. The Archer is dead. We'll pull them off and the archer out. And then we'll do the Goblin Spearman against 3. And he wins! On a 3-2s for the Orcs. The Goblin has won. Making strikes. He needs 5s either way. He's going to go for the Warg. And he kills it. Kills the strength 4 Warg. That Goblin is an absolute trooper. He's the last one of that band. And he is fighting like an absolute maniac. Well done, Mr. Goblin Spearman. There are some fights just behind the Balrog that we'll do next. We've got this Spearman who is going to shield against 4 goblins. Oh, and the goblins absolutely get it there with a 6. They couldn't get the trap on him, so he is able to back away, needing 5s. And they kill him. That is a dead Spearman, making some inroads there onto Sauron. And they will automatically pass their courage test to charge him. So as long as the Balrog survives, they will be able to help him out. We'll come back for this fight because it does affect the trap on the Balrog, and as it's Barad-dûr priority, they're going to do the Balrog now. So the Balrog will set the bar. They both fight 10. Sauron fight 9, striking, even if he rolls a 1. He is 10. Ah, the Balrog does get the 6. The Balrog has the 6. So now we have 2 Orcs. Can they get a 6? Yes, they can. Sauron doesn't even need to roll. It goes straight to the roll-off. 1, 2 or 3. It's Sauron and a very dangerously vulnerable Balrog. But on a 4+, it goes to him. Oh, it's the 3. It's a 3. The Balrog loses the fight. Oh, that is nasty. So the banner has no negative in combat, so he can still wound. We have the banner and 2. These are double strike 6s by 5s. There is a 6 there. 6 by 2. He does not wound, but then Sauron with his 8 attacks, needing 4s. Let's just clear a bit of space. Can he kill the Balrog? Oh, he possibly can. That is 3 wounds on his first set. Oh, 2 more to kill the Balrog. Oh, can he do it? That is a dead Balrog. 5 wounds from Sauron. The Balrog is dead. 2 turns to kill the Balrog. That is unbelievable. These chaps will back away as they had the Balrog trapped. Don't think he was in the fight, but this Spearman was. That is unbelievable. The Balrog completely impotent, paralysed by magic despite 10 will and resistant to magic. No might is just an absolute nightmare when the dice do not go in your favour. That is a huge, huge blow to the goblins. It is all going to come down to breaking and the game ending quickly with them holding the objective. Sauron, unwounded, is on the warpath. He has definitely got his points back, killing the Balrog. Let's just finish off the combat phase. We have a Orc there. He's just seen the Balrog go down. He's brave as anything. He's not going to bother shielding. He is more brave than bright. He's got a 1 there. He's out of banner range. Or is he? Yeah, there's no way he's in banner range, but we'll measure it anyway. Yeah, he is just out. And he dies for it. He did actually basically kill the Balrog by trapping it, allowing Sauron his double strikes, but he gave up his life for the honour. Not that Sauron is ever going to let him be remembered. It's all Sauron, all the glory to him. We then have another 2-on-1, and this Orc Again, he's not going to bother shielding. He's brave. Again, he probably should have. Oh dear. And he dies for it as well. Oh, we're going to have to stop thinking like an orc. That poor orc. Too much glee from destroying a Balrog. This chap is going to shield. He is going to shield against the goblins. And he has won. There is the banner though. Yes, so he has won. And he pushes those goblins back. But they don't want to move back because they need some flowers. They want to smell them. We then have a one-on-one. And the goblin wins. Does not kill. So he backs away. We'll just separate them. And then we finally have a 2-on-1. And it goes to the goblin. The goblin warriors have been incredible. Very, very lucky with their dice rolls. A lot luckier. Oh, and it's another 6. Gets the kill. A lot luckier than the Balrog. So good work from the standard goblin plebs. But it could be a little bit too little too late. End of turn 7, I believe. This is how the board is looking. The goblins, not quite broken. They've very much got the centre, although they have lost the Balrog. This has been a brutal turn for the depths of Moria, although few goblins died and they did chip away at the orcs. It's still all to play for, as Sauron is clearly better suited for killing monsters than infantry, and there's nothing big left to kill. So let's go into turn 8 priority and see what happens. It goes to Barad-dûr. Barad-dûr priority. So the captain up on the rock there is going to call a heroic move. They have lost the auto-pass courage of the Balrog, but they are going to need to at least push forward, even if they can't stop Sauron. They need to form a bubble and protect that objective. So he's going to call, and this captain here is going to counter. If he wins it, Sauron may be able to stop the heroic going off. Is it cut? No, it's not. And it's a 2. It goes to Barad-dûr, continuing the poor luck for the goblins. It's Sauron's turn to move in the heroic move. And what he's going to do is he's in range of charging the captain. So he's not going to bother casting anything on him. He's just going to try and kill a random archer. He's going to use 1 and he's free just to try and kill one of those goblins. He's going to chill soul and it goes off on a 5. It's an automatic wound. So that goblin there is dead. 1 less goblin on the objective. Sauron is then going to just continue his move. It's about 5 inches away. It's already been pre-measured. Then we'll do the rest of the movement that's in range of the captain, and then everything else because it is Barad-dûr's priority, and Sauron has shut off the goblins' heroic move. This is the board at the end of turn 8 movement. The plucky goblin down on the left has been charged by 3, with 2 of the spearmen running off to join the fight and ignore him. Sauron has got in on the captain, and the goblin lines have just been charged all the way along. There's going to be a couple of arrow shots from the goblins, but they are struggling now to hold them back, to hold back Barad-dûr. The goblins amazingly aren't broken, but they are only 2 or 3 away. They need to only just break, and for the game to end very, very soon to have any hope of securing the centre. This is going to get very messy now as the Balrog has fallen and Sauron is going to begin his rampage. There's some shots, as we've said. There's these shots here, and they're going to fire just into... These 2 are going to go into this spearman. They've got clean shots, knowing the ways, so they are hitting on 5s. No! Oh dear, a 1 and a 2. The goblins not doing very well there. Sauron is defense 10, so there's no point trying to target him, as strength 2 can't wound him. He is that tough. So instead, these two are just going to target that orc there. And they both miss 1 and a 2 again. And that is all of the shooting. We'll come back with the combat phase. And we'll start off with the biggest and best. It is the indestructible spearman against 3. Can he win? No. No, he can't. This could be the end of the spearman. Strength 4 warg gets him on a 4. Not having a shield has got that spearman killed in the end. The spearman goes down, and that is the last of the defenders in the left falling there. Moving up to the main cluster of combats, we'll start off here, 2 on 3. There's an extra dice missing for the goblins, although they've won regardless. So they are going to need 5s. Oh, and they don't do it. Can't break through. The goblins seem to have just lost all of their fighting ability, having just been wiped out. They're completely knackered and falling behind. Can the drum inspire them still? Can they rally? We've got 2 on 2. Here we go. Big 6s for the goblins. Ooh, they do. I mean, it's cocked, but regardless, that 5 was enough. Here we go. More 6s. Big swing for the goblins. A 5, that'll do. That's a kill. He backs off, and the goblin has killed that orc. Come on, goblins. Big, big comeback. Who needs a Balrog? It's just a big, scary, fiery demon of doom. We don't need him. Come on. So, 2 on 2, but one of them is a captain. Oh, so close. The goblins did get the 6 that we needed, but the captain's fight value easily outmatches the goblins. They go down on 5s, and the goblins there having to back away and getting smashed in. We then have a 2 on 2. Can the goblins do it? Big 6s for the goblins. Oh, not quite, but they have won. There's a banner there, but it doesn't do it. If the goblins get 2 5+, they can smash a hole in the orc line. 2 5+. Oh, 2 4s. So close. So close for the orcs. For the goblins, rather. We then have some fighting here. Let's just see what's going on. We have a 2 and banner against 1. That goblin is going to shield just to try and survive near the objective. The banner will be this big one because that's a -1. Ooh, and it's only the banner that gets a 6. So if this is a 6 from the drum reroll, ooh, so close. It's a 5. Doesn't do it. That was a 5, but has been knocked into a 6. Regardless, they've won, needing 5s to kill. And they get it. That was nearly cocked, but it righted itself at the end. So he gives way, but then he is dead. Goblins falling thick and fast now. We have another 1-on-1 here. It goes to the goblin. There is the red eye banner there. Winning the fight on a draw. This reroll now has to be a 6. It's a 2. The goblin could be in trouble. But no, a 2 to wound. Sees the goblin back off, holding a thin little line there to keep some slight foothold on the objective. We'll then, as we're here, do Sauron. The captain is just going to fight. No, he's going to stab. He needs to kill. Or, well, he's not going to kill him, but he might wound Sauron. He does get a 5. He's got his banner reroll. He gets a 6 on the banner reroll. That is the captain that can. Here we go. Little captain against Sauron. Oh, and Sauron is only a 4 high. He can't might that. He's only got 1 left. He's got a banner though. Oh, and the banner goes to a 5. Sauron is going to spend his last might. So at least the captain has done some good there. He's taken might off Sauron, but he has lost the fight. He backs off, and then Sauron is going to rend him. He's going to need 3s. He'd need 3s either way. Oh, just 1 wound. That is pants from Sauron. Absolutely useless. That is an alive goblin. We do roll a dice, and on a 6 he is set ablaze. No, so the goblin just backs away. He's taken 1 wound. He's just going to cop that. He'll save his fate for later. That was well worth making Sauron waste a might. So that is no might on the board except for Pointy, who has 1 might remaining. We'll then finish off the fight. We have a 2-on-1. The orc is not going to shield. They'll never learn. Oh dear. And it's the 6 for the goblins. Go on, goblins. No, they don't get him. His bravery has been rewarded. We then have a 1-on-1. And again it goes to the goblins. No kill there. He backs off. And then we have a charging Warg Rider. So it's 2-on-1. And he's won. He's won on fight value with the fire with the 6. So the banner from the drum wouldn't do anything. These are double strikes because he's knocked him down. Strength 4 on defense 4 because that's just a spearman with no shield. Needing 4s. Absolutely munches him. That is another dead goblin. And that is the end of the combat phase. This is the board at the end of turn 8. The goblins are broken now. The centre has been overrun. It's now just a case of how long the goblins can survive and whether they can deny maximum points to the enemy. The game may now start to end as one force has broken. So at the end of this next turn, that is when the dice will be rolled to see if it ends, and each subsequent turn, as the force that's been reduced to below 50% counts as broken at the start of next turn. So let's get priority rolled for turn 9. And it goes to the goblins to see if they can pass some courage tests. Start of the move, and Pointy's not going to bother wasting his might on a heroic move because he wants to see some failed courage tests. That captain's going to take his courage first to try and stand fast. Oh, goblins, no! On a 1 and a 2. There is nothing that goblin can do. The drum does give him +1 courage, but there's -1 from Sauron, and there's not enough might and will in the world for him to pass. He has fled, and with him, the stand fast for the goblins. This is going to be a nasty set of dice rolls. We decided to do the courage rolls off camera because it was boring me senseless, let alone anyone watching it. It took about 1.5 minutes, but this is the result. A lot of failed courage tests. 12 in total. There's 11 there, plus the captain who's already fled. And that also includes 2 drummers. The goblin force has just been gutted after those failed courage tests. The orcs are yet to move, so we'll come back after their move, but I think it's safe to say that the goblins are fairly screwed, really. There's no other way of saying it. They're screwed. Start of Sauron's move, and he is going to chill this Goblin Archer's soul. Goes off on a 4+, and that is double 5s. He has instantly killed that goblin to just add insult to injury there. And then he's going to continue his move, and he's just going to charge in up here. We'll come back after the orcs have moved. End of the move phase. All the goblins are trapped and surrounded except for this lucky goblin. We'll see what happens with him. There's currently enough goblins on the objective to deny full points to the forces of evil. Although, if more than 1 or 2 die, it will be a different matter. So we'll go into the combats. We'll see what happens. We have 4-on-1. This is the bowman that can. Here we go. Big 6. No. He doesn't get it there. We didn't even pick up enough dice for evil. There we go. Wounding him on 5s. He's dead. He's not, however, within 6 of the objective in the centre. so his life is worthless to the goblins. This chap, on the other hand, is not. This goblin must survive. He's a swordsman, so he can shield. Can he survive? Oh, in fact, it's the captain and 2 as Pointy. Pointy is the big dice. Oh, and it has gone to the goblin. There's still a banner. In fact, we'll re-roll one of Pointy's because he's got might. He needs at least a 3 here. And he gets a 6. So close for that goblin. The banner from the drums has finally stopped as the drummers have left. They've fled already. So needing 5s. Re-rolling them all because he's trapped. Or at least they're double strike. So it's tantamount to re-rolling them all. And there on that last dice is a 5. These chaps all back away. And he is dead. We then have a 2-on-1. Just shift those dice. 2-on-1. He's a spearman, so he can't shield. He has 1. Is that banner going to be in range? Let's just have a quick measure. No. Oh, in fact, wrong way around. Let's just... No. Not in range. So he has 1. And he's going to go for the throw, and it's a 6. He's killed him. Yes, come on, goblins. Can they do it? Can they swing it? Can they bring down all of the orcs and Sauron? I mean, that's probably too much to ask, but can they at least stop the Dark Lord getting full points? That's maybe more realistic. So we then have the 1 spearman. He's going to set the bar with a 2. There's then 3 in the banner. We'll not roll the banner just yet because it's -1. He has been beaten. These then are, he's trapped, so they'll be double strikes. We'll just roll the first lot, and he is dead. That is another goblin falling from the objective. We'll then do the captain and 1 against a spearman. So he's got no shield, he can't defend himself except by rolling a big 6, and he gets it! Oh, but so does the captain! So close, Mr. Goblin, but he doesn't get it. So the big dice of the captain, he's strength 4, he needs 4s to wound, and he kills him on a 6. I think that is the goblin's toast now, but we'll continue. We've got a 1-on-1 here. It goes to the orc. Can he cave his skull in with a 5+? Not quite. That goblin backs away. We then have Sauron and a Warg Rider. The Warg Rider didn't charge, but the goblin is in some serious trouble there. We'll set the bar with the goblin on a 2. So Sauron and the Warg Rider. The Warg Rider is the big dice there. They easily win the fight. Although if the goblin had managed to roll a 6, he'd have survived. And then, rolling to kill, Sauron stuffs him up there with a 6. Only just. The rest of them were all rubbish, but he does get the kill. And that is the game. We'll roll to see if it ends, but I think it is going to end here regardless, because there's now not enough goblins to ever contest that objective. It's a 4, so it would continue. It would be horrendous for the few remaining goblins, but let's put them out of the misery and end the game there. So at the end of the game, the goblins with just 2 left, and if we're really being harsh, it would have continued and they would have died. So that is a tabling for the Balrog leading the depths of Moria. That is a very unexpected result. The Dark Lord Sauron just monstering through. Absolutely incredible. And incapacitating the magically resistant 10-wheel Balrog with magic. That is just an incredible showing there. And the victory points confirm it. They vastly outnumber those 2 goblins. They have easily more than triple. So they have 7 victory points for taking the centre. They also have 3 victory points for having killed the enemy leader and 2 for having a banner. Ignore that gibberish. It's 7 for the centre, and it is 3 for breaking the enemy and not being broken themselves, and 2 for killing the enemy leader. With Sauron unharmed, his force unbroken, and the centre very much in evil hands, the Balrog and his goblins have 0. So that is a 12-0 victory to Barad-dûr. MVP for Barad-dûr can only be Sauron. He has been an absolute monster, killing the Balrog and just generally holding his army together and flattening the goblins. MVP for the goblins? Definitely not the Balrog. It is the drum. The amount of 6s on the drum banner reroll was unbelievable. That drum definitely gave the goblins their fighting chance. It was well worth the points, especially being battlefield wide rather than 18 inches, which is the Legendary Legion bonus. That has definitely boosted the drum and makes it well worth its points. Wow. I am basically speechless that is a 12-0 victory. Not at all what I expected. Did you think that the Balrog was going to be beaten by Sauron, or did you think that this was going to go an entirely different direction? Do comment below with whether you thought this went as you expected it would. As always, I'll say please do like, comment and subscribe, and do hit that bell button. It really does help the channel, and if you hit the bell button then you'll be notified of all the future videos. We do tend to release roughly every week. Again, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have, and I'll see you next time. This is going to be a nasty set of dice rolls. We'll roll, in fact we'll roll the courage on camera. Let's see what happens. So normally would roll and then move, but we'll just do them all in one quick go. So that is an 8, courage 2. It's a pass because it's up and down, so he's passed. The spearman, he's passed. He's passed. That's brave, that is. So that bowman, he's failed. This bowman, this one rather, he has failed as well. And then the bowman up top, the one with the armoured helm, has failed. And the other one, oh, he passes. So armoured helm failed. We then have this spearman here, passes. This one rather, has, oh, on a 7, has failed. This one has passed, and the chap behind him has passed. There's quite a lot of passes here. We've got this chap. He has failed. This one, he has failed.